The night was still, the air heavy with silence. Somewhere in the distance, an old clock struck midnight. That was when I heard it, just a whisper, barely a breath, crawling through the darkness of my empty bedroom. It started 2 nights ago. I live alone in a quiet countryside house far from the city. It's peaceful, mostly. No street lights, no car horns, just the sound of the wind whispering through the trees at night. I was lying in bed, wrapped in my blankets, eyes half closed, when I heard it for the first time. A whisper, soft, faint, but unmistakable. It wasn't coming from outside. It was inside my room. At first, I thought it was my mind playing tricks on me. Sleep deprivation, maybe. But the next night, I heard it again. Closer. I turned on my lamp, scanning the empty room, and I found nothing. Just the shadows shifting along the walls. I even checked the closet. Empty, of course. The whispering stopped. But the moment I turned off the light, it returned. This time, I could hear it more clearly. Words, do not, in languages I could understand. A hushed conversation, the voice murmuring just beneath the surface of comprehension. I held my breath, straining my ears, trying to make sense of the words. But the more I listened, the colder my room became. My skin prickled, my heartbeat slowed, and then they stopped, as if they knew I was listening. The next morning, I did something stupid. I installed a recording app on my phone and left it running overnight. I needed proof. I needed to know I wasn't going insane. When I woke up in the morning, the first thing I did was check the recording. It was quiet at first, just my soft breathing, the rustling of my sheets, and then the whispering began. But this time, I wasn't just hearing it, I could understand it. He hears us. He's awake. I stopped the recording. My breath hitched. My hands shook. I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't hallucinating. Someone or something had been in my room, whispering while I slept. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my bed, clutching my phone like a lifeline, staring at the darkness and waiting. for the whispering to return. And at exactly 3:07 a.m., it did. Only this time, it wasn't across the room. It was right beside my ear. Go to sleep. I ran. I didn't even grab my things. I just bolted out of the house barefoot into the cold night air. I drove until the sun rose, until I reached the safety of the city, until I could finally breathe again. It's been a week. I haven't gone back. I don't think I ever will. But sometimes, in the dead of night, in the silence of my new apartment, I swear I can still hear it. A whisper, soft, faint, just waiting for me. Some voices are meant to be heard. Some should be ignored. And some never leave. Sleep well if you can. I sat on the bed, staring at the slightly open bedroom door. My breathing was still heavy, my chest rising and falling rapidly. The apartment was silent again. No footsteps, no whispers. Maybe it was just my imagination. I tried to think rationally. I'm just exhausted. Yeah, that has to be it. I whispered to myself, running a hand over my face. I pulled the blanket up to my chest, trying to calm down. But the moment my head hit the pillow, I heard it just right beside my ear. He's still here. My body tensed, but what made my skin crawl was that the whisper did not come from the room. I slowly turned my head toward the pillow. There was an indentation beside me, as if someone had been sleeping there all along. I froze, my heart pounding wildly. I grabbed my phone and switched on the flashlight. A soft beam of the light cut through the darkness. Nothing. The room was empty. I exhaled shakily, relieved. But as I turned toward the mirror, I saw something that shouldn't be there. The pillow beside mine was still indented, even though in reality it wasn't. I took a step back, refusing to blink. A thin layer of fog spread across the mirror's surface. And then words began to form. You let me in. My breath hitched. And then something even worse happened. In the mirror, I saw a shadow sitting up in my bed. It slowly turned to look at me. But in the real world, my bed was empty. I swallowed hard. My heart felt like it was about to burst. Then, the shadow in the mirror moved. I sat up, leaned forward slightly, and then it smiled. And the worst part, it hit my face. I bolted for the apartment door and grabbed the handle. Locked. It locked. I twisted and yanked it. It wouldn't budge. I reached for my phone. The screen was pitch black. No signal, no response. And then every light in the apartment flickered and died. And in the thick, suffocating darkness, I heard someone's breathing. And it's not mine, but someone else's, just right behind me. I didn't move. I could feel its presence. The air around my shoulder grew cold. It's too cold. And then the whisper came again. You can't leave. You're home now. And that was when everything changed. I opened my eyes. I was still in my apartment, but something was wrong. The lights were back on, but they weren't the same. The glow was pale, dull, cold. I stepped toward the window, and outside there was no city, no streetlights, no buildings, only darkness. I rushed to the apartment door and pulled it open. But what lay beyond wasn't my apartment hallway. It was a long corridor stretching into infinity. The walls were written, slowly expanding and contracting as if they were alive. I stumbled back. Then I heard footsteps from the far end of the corridor. Someone was standing there. Someone who looked exactly like me. They began to walk forward, I tried to slam the door shut, but it wouldn't move. The figure kept getting closer, and when it finally smiled, I knew I was part of this place now, and I would never leave ever again.